following is a production of Cary TV, the Town of Cary's government access channel.
Hi, welcome to Cary Matters, our monthly program that helps keep you informed of the issues that the town of Cary is working on. I'm Jennifer Robinson, Council Representative from District A, and joining me today as my co-host is Jack Smith, who is our longest-serving member on the council.
Yes, you like to rub it in about how old I am. I bet you're going to tell me you were learning to drive when I first ran for council.
No, not at all, Jack. I was actually in college when you ran for the first time.
I feel a lot better. That makes me feel so much better. So, thank you.
You know, Jack, it should make you feel good because we really appreciate the insight that you bring to the council, having the historic knowledge that you have, especially at this time when we are dealing with some of our big issues that affect the future of Cary. And today we're going to be talking about some of these overarching issues. We're going to be talking about our budget, which is our near-term plan for our town, and then we're going to be talking about our Imagine Cary project, which is our long-term vision for the town. And Jack, it's so good to hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. When you put it that way, I feel so much better.
Okay, so let's hear what you have to say. We're going to talk today about the town manager's proposed budget for the coming year, and then we're going to talk about what we are learning about the town at this time as we do our Imagine Cary project. So, last month on Cary Matters, Lori and I talked about what a difficult financial state the town is in at this time. Jack, what are your thoughts?
Well, I agree. This is the toughest financial state for the town that I've witnessed in 24 years. What is surprising to many folks I've spoken with is they don't realize just how far behind local governments are in recovering from our recession other than the economic indicators like housing or financial markets. It takes a long time for economic growth to trickle down to governments, especially local governments. So the citizens of Cary need to know that we are continuing to make really hard decisions about what we can fund and what we have to postpone. Every budget decision we make for fiscal year 2014 comes down to how it affects our long-term operating budget and the financial health of our community.
You know, we have a lot of examples of that in our town manager's proposed budget. The infrastructure and services in which we are investing have been selected either because there is a high and pressing need or because it has potential to bolster our local economy.
Or because a dollar spent today saves us two later on, like our investment in resurfacing roads. Catch up on it now or pay the consequences later.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jack. You know, because the bond referenda for parks, roads, and fire department passed, we'll see an increase in the property tax from 33 cents to 35 cents. The revenue generated will be spent on a variety of capital projects, but will not be applied to any of our operations. So what I'm saying here is that it's all for things, places, buildings, maintenance, but it will not be for the expense of running the town. And we're anticipating a 3% increase in that cost of running our town. Most of that increase will cover the cost of hiring 30 employees. And those employees, many of them will be working at the new Western Wake Water Reclamation Facility.
That's right, Jennifer, but we'll also have in that funding enough for an additional detective and building safety inspector, as well as a few tech service employees. And all of these positions are long overdue in departments that are swamped with work. In addition, we are able to hire a person to manage recreation programs for people with special needs. Now, this is a program that council members think is really long overdue, and we're so glad to have been able to set our priorities so that we could get it in this year's budget.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so you're absolutely right that we're addressing some of our severe staffing needs in this budget without raising the taxes to do it. But it's really important for our citizens to note that the light is not at the end of this financial tunnel, and we anticipate difficulty in staffing our operations in the future just to maintain the level of service that our citizens are accustomed to.
Speaking of which, we need to let citizens know that we will be increasing the cost of solid waste collection and permit fees. Simply put, the fees aren't keeping up with the costs. Our solid waste fees will increase by $1 from $14 a month to $15 a month. And I still think this is quite a deal when you consider the superior service we receive from our public works.
It's true. It really is true. I wouldn't want to have to haul my trash away on my own. So I'm willing to pay that $1 a month. I think it's a good deal. This increase in the solid waste fee is the first increase in 5 years. Likewise, the increase in the inspections fee is the first in 10 years. That 5% increase will translate into about a $35 increase for a 4,000 square foot house that is being built.
Jen, that's a pretty large house.
Yeah, it is. I know it is. But the size of 4,000 square feet is the average house that's being built at this time in Cary. So before we move off of the topic of the budget, let's address the town savings account. Even though we have a very tight budget, we are still being careful to reserve the funds we might need if an emergency or unexpected project arises. It's not only wise to have savings to rely on, but those savings act as an excellent indicator to the bonding agencies that we are fiscally responsible. That's important because our AAA status means we borrow money at the lowest interest rates available to government agencies. And Jack, before we move on, is there anything else that you want to say about the budget?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the continued complexity of our fiscal state necessitates even greater prioritization so that we can make sure we use the limited dollars we have for the services and infrastructure that are most important to our citizens. For that reason, the Council is talking about setting aside even more time in the coming year to explore our priorities for the next fiscal year.
Okay. Good. Great point, Jack. Okay, after this break, we're going to talk about Imagine Cary, our planning project to help us shape the future.
Fun, sportsmanship, skill development, and participation. Enjoy fall baseball and softball for ages 8 to 17, or participate in the fall basketball league for boys and girls ages 5 to 8. No matter the sport, we have the bases covered. Registration starts in June. Contact the Cary Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Administrative Office at 469-4061, or visit any Cary Community Center for more information. The Town of Cary wants you to laugh, learn, and play where you live.
Hi, thanks for staying with us during that break. We were just talking about our draft fiscal year 2014 budget and how it impacts the citizens of Cary. The budget is a good example of a short-term, detailed plan. We're also working on a very long-term plan at this time, and we call this planning process Imagine Cary. And through the collection of input, we hope, from thousands of Cary citizens and businesses, we are formulating an update to our land use plan and all of the other plans that shape Cary. Everything that the town does, from roads to parks, will ultimately be included in this truly comprehensive plan. And as with any plan, it begins with gathering information about our current condition so that we can appropriately plan. So, some of the information that has been collected and distributed to us already has been very fascinating.
It has. One of the pieces of information that I found to be most interesting is that more people commute into Cary than out of Cary each day. That is a real surprise to us, since we have historically considered our town to be a bedroom community. It was also interesting to learn that most of our commuters are not traveling to the RTP area, which I think just about anyone would have guessed to be the case. And in fact, more commuters travel to Raleigh and east of Cary than to RTP. You know, it just goes to show that once again, Cary is an excellent place to own and operate a business. We are proud to be home of great companies like SAS, Siemens, Credit Suisse, Cotton Incorporated, Deutsche Bank, and soon to arrive, MetLife. It's good for us to understand the importance and role that businesses, both large and small, play in our community. Having employment places in Cary means that people can live close to where they work. Office buildings not only help Cary's bottom line, but they're good neighbors, and they're needed to attract more small businesses and restaurants.
That's true. You know, we often hear that developers count windows to determine if there will be enough lunchtime traffic to support a restaurant. On a different note, a fact that a lot of people are finding fascinating is that over 89% of Cary is already built out or in the pipeline to be built. And that basically means that it's approved for development. In other words, there is only 11% of undeveloped land left in Cary. And that leads to the very big question: how do citizens want our town to plan for this development?
Another interesting fact of note is our demographics are changing. Some 19% of our population was born outside the United States. That means that a large percent of our population is either first or second generation citizens of the United States. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but I was born in Germany and my wife is from Ireland. The two women in my life, my mom and my wife, were two of the brave souls that immigrated to the United States. I guess that's why I'm so proud of the diversity that has evolved in Cary.
Yeah, it is a wonderful diversity. You know, Cary is also aging. Our median age in Cary used to be 33.7, but it's now 36.7. That's a lot older than surrounding cities in our region. I always say that everyone comes to Cary but doesn't want it to grow or change, but they also want their parents, sister, and best friend from college to move here too. Well, we have a ton of moms and dads that are moving here for their retirement years. The latest figures suggest that 22% of our population is 55 and better. Jack.
Well, I hate to tell you this, Jennifer, but you're on the way there. We all like living here, and we're not moving away, so we're contributing to the increasing number in our senior population. All of these interesting factors are important to us to consider as we decide how the last 11% of the land will develop. Should we have more single-family neighborhoods, more communities that allow people to age in place, or more mixed-use projects in which people can work, live, and play? If you have an opinion about this, we hope that we will hear from you. Go to imaginecary.org to learn more about our community and find out how you can be part of the conversation about Cary's future, including one of the 4 area conversations that are being held throughout our community this month.
Great. Okay, please stay with us during this brief break. When we come back, we'll talk about what is happening in Cary during the month of June and how you can be involved.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Thanks for staying with us during that short break. Jack, what is happening in the month of June?
Jennifer, I can tell you a lot. The Coca Booth Amphitheater is hosting a ton of concerts throughout the month, including Passion Pit on June 11th and the Lumineers on June 13th. Now, full disclosure, I have no idea who they are, but my granddaughter likes them. So I'm going out to the Coca Booth Amphitheater with a picnic dinner to see the symphony concerts. Those concerts are every Saturday in June.
Excellent. Okay, you can also watch a movie under the stars at the Coca Booth Amphitheater. We'll have Argo, The Hunger Games, and Pitch Perfect playing this month. To get a complete schedule for the amphitheater, go to boothamphitheater.com.
Downtown will be busy too. The farmers market is set up every Saturday morning, and it has more than fresh fruits and veggies. Each week, a different band or musician is there to entertain the crowd. Also, the Starlight Concert Series will be at the historic Page Walker Hotel in downtown Cary. That's a wonderful night out. For all you sports fans, there will be several spectator opportunities throughout the month. The Cary Tennis Center is hosting the Boys and Girls Southern Closed Championships, and USA Baseball is hosting the Tournament of Stars. There is also a Carolina Railhawks game out at the recently renovated Wake Med Soccer Complex.
Okay, and as always, there are many, many meetings down here at Town Hall, most of which Jack and I will be participating in. And we'll have our televised council meetings on Thursday, June 13th and Thursday, June 27th at 6:30 p.m. Tune in to Channel 11 or come on down to participate. Also, there is a new way for citizens to participate in many board and commission meetings held here at Town Hall. Of course, anyone can come to any of these meetings, but if you want to listen in from the comfort of your own home, you may conference in via your phone. If this is of interest to you, please call our town clerk, Sue Rowland, to get call-in instructions. And don't forget also that June 30th is your deadline to apply to fill an upcoming vacancy on one of the council's citizen advisory boards. I almost forgot to mention that. Terms begin this fall, and you can get more information by calling the town clerk's office or visiting the boards and commissions section of townofcary.org.
Good reminder, Jen. One more thing before we go. It's on the effectiveness and efficiency side of things. For the first time, the town's annual water quality report is not being printed and mailed, which is saving us tens of thousands of dollars. Instead, those interested in the results of the thousands of tests we run each year on our drinking water can access the report online. Just go to waterreport.townofcary.org. The change is thanks to new federal regulations. Of course, if you want a paper copy, you can just call the town. Either way, I'm happy to report that once again, our drinking water meets or exceeds all safety and quality standards. Well, that's it for this edition of Cary Matters. We appreciate your watching and hope that what we've shared has been of interest. Please let us hear from you. Your time is important, and we want this show to be of value to you as we work to bring you, our citizens, closer to your government.
And remember, help keep Cary litter-free, clean, green, and beautiful by volunteering with our Spruce program. Thanks again for watching, and as always, thanks for choosing to call Cary home.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.